is a Black Feminist Homecoming.
Hey y'all, get in here. All right, my name is Evelyn from the internets, and I am a digital storyteller, your favorite internet cousin, humor writer, and Black feminist based in Austin, Texas. And tonight, I came prepared, okay, because I am your majorette, okay, your hostess with the mostest, okay, coming to you to get the vibes right for Jubilee, a Black Feminist Homecoming. Consider this the pregame, okay? The turn up before the turn up, you know the one. Or better yet, a pep rally, okay? I am so excited to be here and usher in the celebration that is Jubilee. So let me break it down, okay? Let's get this ball rolling. Jubilee is a celebration of the legacy, power, and possibilities of Black feminisms. And tonight's goal is to uplift a colorful, vibrant, and expansive production of performers, liberators, and guiding stars to help tell the story of Black feminist activism. We're also going to unveil our Black Feminist Platform and share concrete actions you can take toward our liberation. Now, before we get into all that, here's what we got cooking for the pep rally. Okay, we got an amazing performance by singer Shari L, Libations by Nana Anua Nantambu, and a performance from the one, the only, the original Panette's Brass Band and the Baby Dolls. We also have a few host parties around the country, and I'm gonna be stopping by for a little key before the main event. But before we get into this evening's festivities, you know we gotta get ourselves warmed up, okay? Get the blood pumping, get the heart jumping. Okay, so to get started, we are going to honor those who have come before us with the pouring of libations by Mama Nana in Congo Square in New Orleans, and followed shortly thereafter by the singing of our national anthem, Lift Every Voice and Sing, by Atlanta's very own Shari L.
We are the children of the ones who would not die.
We are the children of the ones who will not die.
We are the children of the people who could fly.
And we are the children of the people who could fly.
And we are the children of the ones who carried on.
And we are the children of the ones who carried on.
We pay homage and respect to our beloved ancestors on whose shoulders we stand, for the various ways they fought against and resisted the inhumanities and indignities suffered during our long history in this country and before. During the Ma'afa, during the Reconstruction, during the Jim Crow era, during the Civil Rights Movement, during the Women's Movement, and the varied social and political movements of today, reparations for employment justice, economic justice, education, housing, health, prison reform, and elimination justice, movement for Black Lives Matter, and voting rights. We give respect and honor to our ancestors for their endurance, perseverance, nurturing love, protection, and wisdom, for instilling in us hope, faith, trust, knowing that we can and we will prevail and overcome. Yes. And through the perfect power within you of the Creator, all things are possible.
Yes.
Ashe.
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 Ooh.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day begun. Let us march on till victory has won.
Yes, we set the intentions. We thanked people. You're here, I'm here, we're here together. We're off to a great start. Thank you so much to Mama Nana and Shari L for kicking us off. So earlier this month, Black Feminist Future started a raffle on Twitter, and the winners of the Jubilee limited edition swag boxes are, gotta get the pom-poms, Yemi and Chrissy. You got it. I know that putting something together like Jubilee is no simple task, okay? It takes a lot of hard work, all those Zoom meetings, all those Google Docs. So on behalf of Black Feminist Future team, I want to give a heartfelt thank you to everyone who's made Jubilee possible. Our supporters, partners, people like you watching right now. You look good, okay? I want to especially thank the fantastic organizational and individual sponsors whose generous support have made Jubilee a success. Thank you. Now let's hear a word from Jubilee's visionary sponsor, Planned Parenthood Federation of America, represented by Monica Masamba.
Hey y'all, my name is Monica Masamba. I'm the Black Campaigns Manager at Planned Parenthood Federation of America, and it's an honor to be here celebrating with you today. Being in the presence of so many dynamic Black feminists celebrating our collective power, beauty, and influence makes me that much more proud to stand in my own Black feminism. Events like Jubilee, events that center and celebrate Black girls, women, and gender-expansive people are so necessary because we know that our liberation is key to the liberation of all people. Yes, we are organizers, visionaries, workers, and leaders. We are also human. And spaces like these where we can take a few moments to fellowship together, to uplift each other, and to applaud one another are essential to our well-being and our ability to continue to do the work necessary to free our communities. At Planned Parenthood, we are honored to stand with and learn from our colleagues who are at the helm of Black Feminist Future. Black feminism isn't a platitude, it's a praxis, one that continues to inform and evolve our work as sexual and reproductive healthcare providers, educators, and advocates. We are continuously inspired by your vision, and we are fueled by the work you do day in and day out. I look forward to enjoying this celebration with you all.
So did you know that Jubilee has an awesome watch guide, okay? We're not just giving you a simple Zoom. We have activities, okay? And this watch guide takes the viewer experience up a notch, if I do say so myself, and I do say so myself, okay? So you can check out the watch guide on the Jubilee website right now. It has games, recipes for the mint Jubilee, okay, clink, clink, coloring pages, and more. So check it out. So you know me. You already know the vibes. We couldn't have a pep rally without inviting our people to party with us, okay? So we put a call out and over 100 people answered the call to host watch parties in their own communities for Jubilee. We stand, okay? So what I'm gonna do is check in with some of those people right now.
Hello, everybody. Hey.
Hey.
Hey, happy Jubilee.
Happy Jubilee.
I see some of y'all just dipped in with the beverage, and we gonna get into it. Okay, but first, let's go through some introductions. All my host party hosts with the most. Okay, share with me your name, your pronoun, and where you're located. Let's start off with the beautiful person in the head to toe orange.
I think that's me, right? Happy Jubilee, everyone. This is Latasha D. Mays, President and CEO of Voices for Reproductive Justice. We are a proud sponsor of Jubilee 2021, and we are so in love and enamored with Black Feminist Future. And I'm so proud of my dear friend and Yelder Harris Hatcher. I give her pronouns, and I am based in the city of brotherly love and sisterly affection, which is the city of Philadelphia, and so happy to be here with everyone today.
Oh yes, thanks for being here with us. Okay, I see some vibrant hair in the top corner. Introduce yourself, where you at, name, pronouns, who's with you.
This is Cassie Jones McBride, and my pronouns are she, her, hers. And I am the Black Organizing Program Manager at Planned Parenthood of Michigan. And I reside in the beautiful city of Detroit. And I'm so happy to be here and to celebrate Jubilee with y'all.
Happy Jubilee, Detroit. Okay, I see a vibrant red lippy. Talk to me, what's going on?
Peace, y'all. My name is Trinice. I use she, her pronouns. Wear many hats. I work at a local university here. I'm an organizer, creative director, but most importantly, I'm a Black feminist and really excited to be here. Currently in Washington, D.C., which is Anacostan land, but this land in particular where I am has been stewarded by Black people for over 400 years. I'm really excited to be here. Happy Jubilee.
Jubilee, D.C. Okay, Locks. Come on, beautiful Locks. Introduce yourself.
Oh, is that me? Is that me? Happy Jubilee, everybody. My name is Stacia Elmore. My pronouns are she, her, queen, and I'm part of the new Voices for Reproductive Justice team. We're super excited to be here, and I'm hailing from Philadelphia.
Come on, sisterly affection. I like that. I like that. And last but certainly not least, Miss Mammy debates about capital classes.
Hey everyone, happy Jubilee. I'm Carmen Alexander. I'm the Deputy Director of Operations for New Voices for Reproductive Justice. I bring into this room all three of our offices, which is Cleveland, Ohio, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and the city of sisterly love, Philadelphia. Glad to be here. I live in Winter Springs, but right now I'm in Pittsburgh, my hometown, and just so happy to celebrate this with Black Feminist Future.
Pittsburgh, we down here in the South, so I love being able to connect with all of y'all. I feel the temperatures cooling down already. All right, so let's talk about the beverages we got going on. Don't think I forgot. Okay, what we sipping on? Let me know. Ooh.
I'm sipping off of some water from Yimmy Y'all. We got all the refreshing water that I can have. That Yimmy Y'all brings all my spirit, and happy to be sharing her with you today too.
Feel that hydration, nourishment.
Hey, I'm sipping on some Prosecco. You know, I'm a little bougie, so I added a little Saint Germain, you know, because I like the elderflower, you know, taste to really hit the palate. But, you know, happy Jubilee. It's Saturday.
Amen. Amen. What else we got going on? I see a big old cup. I don't need a
Yes, I got my sparkle cup with me, and in order to know what's in it, you have to be at Jubilee right by my side.
Come on, host party. Okay, what else we got? What else we got in our cups? I'm nosy.
I'm just sipping on a little crown apple, you know. You can drink it straight up, get the party started right. Ooh. Some dark liquor.
That's that one right there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for me, I got my stand with Black women mug here, filled with some Ciroc and a little cranberry juice. So I am set for the rest of the afternoon.
Okay, I feel this. You know, I can't partake. I'm on the job. So pour one out for me. Have two for me. Okay, so
have three for me.
What snacks we got going on? Are we a chip kind of friend group? Are we a sweet, a savory?
Well, I don't know what category this falls in, but I'm waiting on my oysters to be delivered. So we're going to do a little oysters and Prosecco for the evening.
Budget. You have a budget.
Whole Foods, 99 cents for oyster.
I think I'm going to do a little blackened catfish. You know, I'm a savory kind of person. And my sweets will be my drink, my adult beverages.
Feel that. I said snacksy. I said a whole meal. And that's what I like. So,
I mean, since we talking about meals, Babe is in there whipping up the fajitas right now.
Oh, you got somebody on.
I think fajitas go with everything.
Come on, fajitas. Come through, fajitas.
Yes.
I'm about to order some oxtails, red beans, and rice. Forget the snacks. We'll go all the way in.
I'm jealous. Let's share. What was that? Incense? I don't want to be on your business. I don't even want to be on your business.
Trying to set the vibe for Jubilee. So yeah, we got some of that Philly incense. Mm-hmm. You get 10 pack, 20 pack, $2.
There you go.
I was about to say, did you get that from the incense man on 52nd?
No, you had to get it from this man on 52nd Street.
All right, so what are y'all looking forward to the most when it comes to watching Jubilee?
I'm going to jump in. I want to say that this is my first Jubilee. So I'm just super excited to see like all of this Black feminist magic. I just think it's going to be magical and like hit me right here and make me smile and be proud. I'm so excited for that.
We need that joy. For sure.
It's just awesome to be able to get the time together with all Black feminists. Like that's like, how often do we get a chance to do that? So it's awesome to be able to celebrate, on the Saturday, to end the day with celebration and remembrance and just, really vibrant. So I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Jubilee coming in clutch with the connections, right? What else?
Most excited about the aesthetic because I've just been enjoying the things, the artwork, the shirts, the meridians, like it's all been so aesthetically beautiful and welcoming. So I'm just so excited to see all of these Black feminists on screen, taking us home, welcoming us home. This is the homecoming. So I'm just really excited to enjoy the production, but also the political education that I know is going to happen.
Absolutely. Come through, merch plug. I stand. All right.
Now I know my friend Paris, and I know her dream for Black Feminist Future, and I know her dream for a global Black feminist movement. And I know that this is her offering to the world, her ode to Black feminists. I know it will be everything that we could imagine and everything beyond our imagination. So I'm here for everybody who's participating, the aesthetic, everything, the branding. I live for it, and I just am so excited for the spirit, the joy, that is going to really uplift us, but all those who are watching with us as well.
Absolutely. I'm
just like excited about having a safe space for us to get together. There's so few places where we can go and be fully ourselves and enter in spaces where we can celebrate and liberate each other in conversation and community. I'm just so grateful every chance I get to be connected to powerful Black women and their energy, and for me to glean from the power that they exude. So I'm just excited about the opportunity to connect, and I'm looking forward to just so much beauty and light and love. I just can't wait.
Same here. I mean, thank y'all for checking in with me. You know, I had to check in with my Jubilee people across the country, see how we're doing, see what we got going on as we get ready for the main event, Jubilee, a Black Feminist Homecoming. I want to thank all of y'all for hanging out with me and sharing your stories with me and inviting me into y'all space. So I will see you for the rest of the main event. Take care, have fun, and happy Jubilee.
Happy Jubilee.
Happy Jubilee.
Happy Jubilee. Happy Jubilee, everyone.
Thank y'all so much for checking in with us, and shout out to all the watch parties happening all over. Make sure y'all use the hashtag Jubilee21 to share your pep rally pics with us. I want to see what's the fits looking like. Okay, is it just a chest up situation or a full head to toe fit? I want to know. So we have come to the end of pep rally. It's not goodbye, it's just see you later again. So many thanks to those of you for watching us, our sponsors. Reminder to check out our awesome merch at blackfeministhomecoming.com, and stay tuned for Jubilee up next. So that's me, that's my time. I am Evelyn from the internet's, your drum major, your cheerleader, your pep rally host with the most, wishing you an awesome Jubilee. Bye. We got a guest?
We do. On behalf of our BFF team, Evelyn, we would like to pin you one of our Black feminist faves. We're so thankful for our favorite internet cousin.
Thank you.
Stopping by to lead us.
I feel validated.
In our Jubilee Black Feminist Homecoming pep rally.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a pom-pom.
Thank you.
Bye.
We are the original Pitts Brass Band.
y'all. It's good to see you. Come on in like it's raining and you just got your hair done. Just come into Jubilee. Now, what's Jubilee? It's unbreakable, nearly as unbreakable as our dignity. And let me be more specific. Jubilee is double Dutch and penny candy. Jubilee is picking honeysuckles at recess. Jubilee is hot girl summer. It's crackling bread, egusi soup, and sorrel. Jubilee is jumping the broom and jumping over haters. Jubilee is Black feminist brilliance, making the invisible visible. It's queer beauty, trans power, and loving all of who we are. Because no matter how we identify, we are our ancestors' wildest dreams. Jubilee is when we don't have to have second lines every weekend because Black folks are dying at the hands of partners, police, and policymakers. Jubilee is hyping up your sister friends and having each other's backs. It's when we can go to the fish fry on Friday and the catfish ain't from polluted waters. Jubilee is building altars to defend Black women, girls, and kinfolks of every gender to keep the spirit of revolution alive. Jubilee is the blueprint for everybody's liberation. Jubilee is Harriet Tubman to Megan Thee Stallion. Jubilee is a Black Feminist Future. I'm your host, Amber Ruffin, comedian, writer, and Black feminist. I will be your guide on this journey, a journey about dignity, legacy, resistance, and joy. As you've noticed, BFF is committed to making this a space where more of us can show up, so we've provided captioning and ASL interpreters. We at Black Feminist Future are so excited to welcome you to this Black Feminist Homecoming. In this perfect time, in this precious space, you are right here with us. Welcome to Jubilee.
Ayaje, ayaje. Wosa fedewa e kuo yalode, lala kataje ewo. I pour this libation first in acknowledgement of the ancestors whose land we stand upon here in the Lape land, and all of those tribes and clans on this continent of North America. I thank those spirits for their offering in the liberation of my African ancestors. I simply say thank you. May all of our ancestors be uplifted, and may all those unheralded feminist ancestors rise up to be counted as we feel you in our ribs, our backbones, and our blood. Divine Earth Feminine and all that is housed in your soul, we offer this libation in gratitude for birthing, nurturing, and molding feminists of all genders to do this work of transformation towards the feminist balance. Keep us in your reach. Keep us safe from all harm. Keep us steady. Keep us focused. Keep us empowered. And keep us connected to our glorious past, grounded in the present moments, and encouraged to move further toward a glorious future. Keep us covered in truth and help us and keep us infused with love. With grace and deep gratitude, we offer this libation. Amen. Ayaje. Hallelujah. Asheo.
Hello, Jubilee family. Hello. I'm Sister Dr. Alexis Pauline Gums. And I'm Shango Dare. And we are Mobile Homecoming, and we are honored to be bringing you just a sliver of what we bring during our monthly Black Feminist Sunday services. Mm-hmm. Our sacred text today is from the great Barbara Smith, who in the 1970s used to say in a variety of contexts, like a mantra or more, a provocation, I am a Black, lesbian, feminist, literary critic, wondering if it is possible to be that and live to tell the tale. And this is dedicated to all of our elders and our ancestors whose bravery has made our lives possible. 1. Wondering. Wonder if your life is a wonder of the world, a threat to the known universe, the knowing. Wonder if your life is the days after stardust meets itself as earth and breath and life. 2. Live. Live, or is it live and direct, or is it rhetorical? The question of what it takes to show up in rooms of sharpened words, of frightened folks unready to love themselves as you. Right? Or is it wrong to write your name beyond the margins of the page, to take the page, print it yourself with block adinkra, to press a million kitchen tables into a button small enough to carry, pin it to my chest? 4. Be that. Be that Black. Be that feminist. Be that lesbian. Be that literary. Be that critic. Be that bold to say the words that they would kill you for and never apologize. 5. Tell. Pray. Tell everyone your prayer is working. Tell everyone you are just working when we know that you are praying. We exist to tell you yes. Say yes, we live. Say yes, we tell. Say yes, say yes, say yes, we be that wonder. Yes.
Because you are here, because you are attentive, because you have benefited from the Black feminists who have walked this realm, we are united in this invocation. We as Mobile Homecoming and those of us gathered under the sound of my little old voice. Yes? We give thanks for legacy. Legacy is what they left us. They willed it to us, if you will, willed it for us. And thank the divine through line we live to tell. And in our gratitude, we find it easy to walk in joy, to strut in celebration, to diddy bop our Jubilee. We, wide-eyed and Kool-Aid smiling, can tap into the legacy and the testimony when we look back over our lives, over the lives of those whose shoulders bear our weight. We remember. We can tap in and we can remember. And finding it easy to remember, we come on up a little higher in our rejoicing, a little hotter in our invocation of power. Yeah, power, Lord. A little more intense in our audacious activation of collective spirit as love. Talk about power, Lord. Love as life force. Power, Lord. a little more intent on our collective wellness, power Lord, a little more assured of our abundance, we say, I got the power Lord. Yes, we got it. We acknowledge that we go through one cycle or another, a decade, an age, an eon, and still power Lord. This power to come home wherever we are. This power to tap legacy and remember. This power to perceive rightly, joyfully. This power to find or create unity. We invite to draw nearer. Yes, we do. Draw nearer. Draw nearer and rejoice. This is Jubilee.
Today we hear the call for full equality for women and distinctly for women of color from a multiplicity of perspectives. Intersectionality is a term we often hear, but what does it mean? Kimberly Crenshaw, who coined the term in 1989, explains it with a metaphor.
Consider an intersection made up of many roads. The roads are the structures of race, gender, gender identity, class, sexuality, disability. And the traffic running through those roads are the practices and policies that discriminate against people. Now, if an accident happens, it can be caused by cars traveling from any number of directions, and sometimes from all of them. So if a Black woman is harmed because she is in an intersection, her injury could result from discrimination from any or all directions.
Intersectionality in all discussions of the rights of African American women today is built on the work of previous generations who have always been a part of the fight for full equality. Sojourner Truth escaped slavery in 1827 and became one of the most powerful women's rights activists of her time. She emphasized her identity as both African American and woman in her famous Ain't I a Woman speech at the Women's Convention in 1851. In 1893, Anna Julia Cooper addressed the World Congress of Representative Women saying, "The white woman could at least plead for her own emancipation. The Black woman, doubly enslaved, could but suffer and struggle and be silent." They demanded recognition of both the femaleness and Blackness of African American women in the struggle for political and social advancement. In 1951, the Sojourners for Truth put a call out to Negro women to convene in Washington, D.C. for a Sojourn for Truth and Justice. 132 women from 14 states responded. During the Sojourners' last Eastern Seaboard Conference, they discussed the organizational tenets of fighting against triple oppression facing working-class Black women, of racism, sexism, and classism. Their efforts were a precursor to the Black freedom activism of the Black Power era and the Black Feminist movement. Named for a raid led by Harriet Tubman, which freed more than 750 slaves, the Combahee River Collective was founded in 1974 by a group of self-identified queer Black feminists. Their Combahee River Collective statement was one of the earliest explorations of the intersection of multiple oppressions to include sexuality. They stated, "Our politics initially sprang from the shared belief that Black women are inherently valuable." The words and actions of these leaders continue to contribute to today's discussion around intersectionality, feminism, and civil rights that demand equality and inclusion for all.
As we just saw, the legacy of Black feminist work is vibrant and deep. Just like the people, land, food, and fashion that binds us across oceans and experiences, our legacies of resilience, care, and joy are stitched together as complex and colorful as the quilts from Gee's Bend. We come from Mississippi ring shouts, Bahia's Carnival, and Haiti's Revolution. Though our legacy has taken many shapes, Black feminists have always been here. And while big mamas, mommy, auntie, and mothers by any other name may not have literally called themselves Black feminists, let's be clear. Every freedom movement you know about, from the ending of slavery to Black Lives Matter, was made possible because Black feminists made it possible. Like potters, we have painstakingly shaped how people talk about and do the work of freedom. From mothers reassuring us of our potential to protests met with picket signs to academic theories and everything in between, Black feminism is foundational to our freedom movements. So what exactly is Black feminism? When Sojourner Truth said, "Ain't I a woman?" she was talking about it. Black feminisms, as explained in the short film before, is a blueprint or ideology that helps us understand ourselves, our community, and our world. That our race, our gender, our class, ability, place of origin, religion, sexuality, and gender identity are sites of oppression and incredible possibilities. To be clear, Black feminisms is about building the world that Black women, girls, and trans and gender-expansive people deserve. Black feminisms means we move who and what we center, value, and amplify from margin to center. Bell Hooks taught us that. It means Black lives can't matter until Black trans women's lives matter. From the incredible women of the Black Panther Party, the organizers of the Combahee River Collective, Stonewall riots, HIV/AIDS, welfare and housing rights activists in the 80s and 90s, and Black feminist organizers leading the movement for Black lives, bailing out Black mamas and chanting "Say her name," we are stitched together by the legacy of Black feminisms. One that says our gender is just as important as our race, as our sexuality and disability, and on and on. From salsa to voguing, from twerking to tap dance, we draw our strength from every part of our cultures because we know it's only together that we experience the fullness of our legacies. And it's all types of legacies, from clapping back to standing in solidarity, from shutting it down to raising up a mighty prayer circle. We live out loud. For real though, y'all, the tradition of learning and leading together as Black feminists is a conversation alive and well. And today we're joined by living luminaries, Barbara Smith, Andrea Jenkins, Paris Hatcher, and Raquel Willis, reflecting on the past and envisioning the future of Black feminist power.
Welcome, y'all.
Thank you.
Raquel, I'm gonna get started with you. I want you to tell us about yourself.
I'm Raquel, pronouns she and her, unapologetically Black and queer and trans and a woman, and from Augusta, Georgia, so very much Southern, now living in Brooklyn, New York. I am a dreamer of liberation, and yeah, I believe in the dignity and honor of our people.
Oh, that was juicy. That gave me chills. Andrea, tell us about yourself.
My name is Andrea Jenkins. I am Black. I am trans identified. I'm queer, bisexual. I grew up in Chicago, Illinois, lived and worked in Minneapolis for about the past 40 plus years. Some people call me a politician. I like to think of myself as a poet and an artist. I do consider myself to be a Black feminist, a Black womanist. The theories of Black feminism continues to shape my own mindset, and I'm just really honored to be here with you all.
Thank you. That's awesome. I love this. You are a poet and an artist. Barbara Smith, tell us about yourself.
Well, how much time do you have? Since I'm a few decades older than virtually everybody with us. But that doesn't mean that I need to take up any more time. I was born in Cleveland, Ohio in 1946. 7 minutes later, my twin sister Beverly arrived, and we've been a team ever since. My family came from rural Georgia, Dublin, Georgia, so I kind of share that with Raquel. And I feel really fortunate that I came of age during one of the most significant historical periods in our country's history. And that was a time of the civil rights movement, in which I became active as a teenager in the 1960s, and then also, of course, a Black liberation. So those are the roots of my activism. I consider myself, and I think others would too, I'm a member of the left. I'm a socialist, a radical, and I hope that one day people will say I'm a revolutionary. And I'm a Black feminist and a lesbian. So there you have it.
That's awesome. Thank you. Yes, I believe that you've earned your revolutionary stripes. And I want to tell you all a little bit about myself. So my name is Paris Hatcher. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. I am from Greensboro, North Carolina, but I live in Atlanta. So Southern girl for life. Shout out to the South. I'm a Black feminist. I'm queer. This work is so important. It feels like a birthright and a calling. And Black feminism grows me, nurtures me, teaches me, pushes me, invites me to reach my fullest form. So it's so great to hear a little bit about y'all. But I was curious about, when did we get started in our own paths around Black feminism? When did you notice that Black women and girls and like LGBT people and gender non-conforming people were treated different based on their identities?
I think that having grown up during the Jim Crow era, that really was completely pivotal in shaping my political consciousness. My family, as I said, is from the Deep South, and their racial consciousness, I think we kind of got it through our pores. In one of the worst states of the Confederacy, it's almost like it was in the water, or should I say in the lemonade and the Kool-Aid and the sweet tea. I was surrounded by Black women who were independent and who had high expectations and expected, my sister and me to do something. And then fast forwarding into my young adult years, I really didn't understand exactly how sexism worked probably until I was in graduate school, because I went to a women's college. But as soon as I got out in the world, I began to see what the barriers were. And I was, I guess, waiting for Black feminism, because I did not get involved in the white women's movement of the early 1970s. So I was reading some of the major books of the time, but I wasn't involved until a particular period when the National Black Feminist Organization arose in 1973.
Oh, that's so juicy. I didn't know that. And I think folks who are going to be tuning in are going to hear that they've been on the fence around feminisms because they've been really turned off by the mainstream part, and they don't understand or see the Black part. We've been doing our own thing.
I was thinking, listening to Barbara's sharing, and Barbara became an activist in the 60s. I was a child of the 60s. I was born in 1961. And in Chicago, which was really, I call it a hotbed for Black nationalist politics, I sort of recognized that there's something different around being Black in this society. Black History Month didn't exist. It was Black History Week. And I was a sophomore in high school, and we wanted to have an assembly in our high school to celebrate Black History Week. And the principal was like, no. And so I was a part of a group of students that we walked out of school.
And you haven't turned back.
Haven't turned back. We got to have our Black History Week celebration.
Raquel, I want to bring you into this conversation. What made you take action for the first time? What issue really activated you?
Gender was my first kind of entry point into realizing something ain't right, like something's up. My mom was, she had a doctorate of education. She was like a community leader. I remember her and my father having a conversation, and he said something that just was like, that was it. Like, it was the law of the land. There was going to be no further discussion. And she remembers this. And I turned to her and I was like, you're an adult. Why do you let him just have the final word? He doesn't have to have the final word. And then I kind of had, the quintessential experience of being gender nonconforming and queer and legibly those things. So I was called a sissy, called all of those things, bullied by the boys, like collectively, but like one-on-one, like things were cool, or even sometimes more than cool. And I just felt very isolated and alone. It really wasn't until after I had my first job and moved to Atlanta, started organizing with folks like Tony Michelle at Solutions Not Punishments Collaborative, that things started to fall in place, I think, in a deeper way.
So much great information, so many points of resonance. So Barbara, I'm curious, I want to hear from you as one of our North Stars. You've done such incredible work over your life, and you continue to do it. What role does Black feminism play in your life now? And what do you want the future of Black feminisms to be?
Black feminism is a part of how I see the world and experience the world. And I'm going to go back to the Combahee River Collective Statement. It's actually Combahee, because I found that out a few years ago, that in South Carolina, where the Combahee River is, it's actually pronounced that way. And it's where Harriet Tubman planned and led a military campaign during the Civil War that freed more than 750 enslaved Africans. So in the statement, we talked about interlocking oppressions. That was our definition of like how Black feminism becomes operational in the world, that it's not just one vector of oppression. We weren't just looking at race, we weren't just looking at gender, we weren't just looking at class, we were not just looking at sexuality. Intersectionality as a concept was developed in the late 1980s by law professor Kimberly Crenshaw. But, you know, when we wrote the Combahee River Collective Statement, we were talking about really the same kind of concept of you have to look at all these factors together, because if you don't, you will not understand what you're seeing in front of your face. And I take that with me everywhere and all the time. My political work at this time is not necessarily around sexual politics or gender politics or queer LGBTQIA plus politics. But as I said, it's a part of how I see the world. When I was a member of our Albany Common Council, and I share that with Andrea, that we have both been members of our city councils, I didn't hit people over the head with the fact that I was a Black feminist. I just operated that way. My constituents in a poor, predominantly Black neighborhood, most of the people who came to me asking for help, advice, support, they were Black women. It's how I see the world. It's integrated, and it will continue to be.
So, Andrea, I'm thinking about this legacy piece, this archiving piece that you've been doing. What does legacy look like for you, and what legacy do you hope to be building on?
Well, you know, I have to say thank you to Barbara for just giving me one more linkage to my absolute legacy hero, and that is Harriet Tubman. Whenever anybody asks me, how do you do this, Andrea? How do you keep? I always say, I think about Harriet Tubman. She said, if you see them dogs, keep going. You see them lights, keep going. You get hungry, keep going. You get tired, keep going. So that's legacy. The legacy of Black trans women who literally brought this LGBT movement that built on the legacy of the civil rights movement, and the women's rights movement built on that legacy. It took Black and brown trans women to bring that resistance into reality, beginning, you know, with the Compton riots and even long before that. I mean, Black trans women were asserting themselves as women in our society and have really shaped culture. And so to me, it's every day. I'm always talking about the intersections of the movements. We can't talk about transgender violence, the murder of transgender people, without talking about access to housing, access to safe and affordable healthcare, without talking about access to employment and fair wages, because it's all interconnected.
Raquel, I got a question for you. What does legacy mean to you?
For me, it's about honoring the folks who opened doors for me, named and unnamed, because there are countless unnamed Black feminists out there who have contributed that we don't know about. And of course, honoring the ones that we do know about. I mean, literally having to give it up to you, Barbara, for being a part of a complete shift. Literally, when we talk about paradigm shift, like that's what the Combahee River Collective did. That's what you have done. We can't talk about ourselves, our peoples, our movements without talking about interlocking oppression. Black feminism for me is giving the love to Andrea, right? For your part, particularly in this moment of the breaking open of talking about white supremacy writ large and in the mainstream, right? And as a political leader who was and still is at the heart of this location where George Floyd was murdered by agents of the US government. Your work as a leader, a leader that's actively listening, as a Black trans woman in this conversation around defunding police. And I think for many of us in movement, paving a road to abolition. You know, Paris, for you and the work that you do in organizing, archiving our history and our present around Black feminism. So for me, that's what Black feminism is, right? It's giving the props, the love, the gratitude to the Black feminists, the Black women, the Black queer folks, the Black gender nonconforming folks who have been the lifeblood of this world forever.
Let's just give Raquel some love. You are our storyteller. You are shifting narratives. That incredible Black trans march that you held last year, it gives me chills with you on the mic talking about Black trans power. That is an incredible work, a part of that legacy making work. I want to conclude our conversation to you, Barbara Smith, Raquel Willis, Andrea Jenkins. I'm in deep gratitude to be talking about the legacy of Black feminisms with y'all, to imagine and reflect on what we have been a part of, our different decades, the different issues that energized us, that activated us, and the work that we're continuing to do. And so I want to thank you so much for being a part of this conversation, y'all, and just the most tremendous gratitude.
What a conversation. Thank you to Barbara Smith, Andrea Jenkins, Paris Hatcher, and Raquel Willis. We are so grateful for your work and your contribution to our ongoing Black feminist legacy. So who's ready to get free? Who's ready to break up with patriarchy and help to build the Black feminist movement that we deserve? My name is Crystal, I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the manager of leadership and learning with Black Feminist Future. We do this work for freedom, joy, and power, and our deep, deep love for Black women, girls, and people of every gender and sexuality. So who are we? We are Black Feminist Future, a movement organization that works to amplify the power and brilliance of Black feminist leaders, organizations, movements in the US and across the diaspora. We do this work because the world can be incredibly brutal to Black women, girls, and gender-expansive people. This world tells us to choose your race or your gender or your sexuality to care about, not us. It tells us to be silent, to shrink, or to conceal our oppressions for the benefit of the greater good. We're expected to save a world that doesn't love us back. But at Black Feminist Future, we fight to make the world that we deserve tangible. We do this work because we believe in the unbreakable dignity of Black women and girls and our right to be seen as whole, dynamic, and priceless. We refuse to divide ourselves because it's impossible. We are Black, women, LGBTQ, no income to some money, we are disabled, migrants, parents, we're multitudes. We must fight for freedom together. In order to build the Black feminist future that we deserve for all people and for the planet to thrive, we want you to join us. Become a member of Black Feminist Future and commit to breaking up with patriarchy and all the systems of oppression that try to keep us down. Come through.
Sometimes it can be tricky or even just plain hard to talk about how systems of oppressions show up in our lives. Too many people think of systems of oppression and Black feminisms as a term only used by scholars, but Black people have a unique and special relationship to Black feminisms. Even if we don't always use the words, we do know how to call out disrespect and BS when we see it. Remember when Queen Latifah said, "Who you calling a bitch?" That was Black feminism in action. Being our everyday fly selves comes with both triumph and tragedies. The source of our nourishment and our burden often springs from the same places. It's in our homes and schools, the very places where we first learn to lead and love, that we experience these oppressions. racist messages that tell us to be black, but not too black, textbooks that speak of our histories only in the context of slavery, intimate relationships that we're raised to believe we need to be valid and whole too often hurt us in word and deed. These systems, these isms, racism, sexism, homophobia, and every other ideal that threatens our humanity must be examined and dismantled no matter what mask it wears or where it calls home. To begin the first steps toward liberation is to step closer to the mirror and reflect on what we hold most deep and what brought us here. But other folks can tell you better than I can. Let's hear from our people about their experiences with systems of oppression and how we fight back.
When Black women are free, everybody's free.
Black woman creates all the magic that is given into this earth.
What I really love about being a Black queer person is the creativity it allows me to have and how I see the world and how I present myself. Like wherever I go, whatever I'm doing, I'm an agitator or a rule breaker.
At the bottom of the societal hierarchy are Black women. And so I can't fall down. I'm going to show up in the way that I want to show up. So I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm going to say what I want to say. I'm going to appear in the world in a way that really, if we were all free, we would all be doing.
My heart and soul really connects with Nina Simone, and I just love how sensitive and raw she was when she was on the stage in front of all those white people, being her full, authentic, creative self.
Alexis Pauline Gumbs. Alexis has a very poetic and beautiful way of putting together words and invoking thoughts around what Black feminism means and how ultimately we are all connected to it.
Hands down, the favorite Black feminists are the women in my family. My mother held it down for us. After she and my father divorced, she held 2-3 jobs at a time, but also always pushed education for us.
When I was in high school and I was in marching band, I started off playing the trumpet and we ended up needing a tuba player. It was a very, very small band. And I volunteered to be the tuba player. They said, you can't do it. You're a girl. This tuba's heavy. And it really motivated me. And so I became the tuba player for the band.
The moment the doctors told my parents, you have a girl. Being first-generation American and Muslim American, my family were very overprotective of the girls and women in their lives, to the point where they think that we're incapable of doing a lot of things, and the reality is that we can do everything.
When I was about 4 years old, I'd come to school with my hair in braids and thread, and I was feeling very excited about my expression of myself. And I asked someone, a little white boy, if he liked my hair, and he said, no, I don't like your hair. It was the first time that I understood that how I saw myself wasn't how other people saw me, and that I couldn't control that.
On Saturday mornings, when my sister and I had to stay home and do our cleaning chores, my brother was allowed to go with my father to visit my grandfather, the patriarch of our family.
You know, I don't feel like I really tapped into it until my late 20s, which is when I really just started tapping into myself and stopped trying to be what my family wanted me to be, what society was telling me that I should be, and tapping into that really saved my life.
I started creating altars, and really beautiful things started to happen, like butterflies at my doorstep and just, you know, beautiful animal sightings. And so I just became to feel very magical in that I had some agency in the world that I didn't feel like I had before.
I didn't even realize that I had magic inside me until I was able to decolonize my mind and unlearn all the toxicities that was taught to me about being a woman of color, a Black and brown woman. And it was really when I was in my late 20s that I was just like, oh wow, you know, I have all this empathy and I have all this love, and it's significantly magical.
Those women who were around me, my mother, my Aunt Riri, they were examples of Black girl magic. So I love the fact that my millennial sisters have coined this term that we're now using, but it's always been there, and it always will be, because we are.
Hi, my name is Dr. Moya Bailey, and I'm going to break down the term misogynoir. So what is misogynoir? Misogynoir is a term I coined in 2008 to describe and better explain what I was noticing around the representation of Black women and gender-expansive people in the media, in particular, social media. The representations of Black women and gender-expansive people that I witnessed was limited and negative. It was anti-Black, racist, and sexist, and an outright hatred of Black women and girls. It was so rampant that I coined the term misogynoir to address it. I defined misogynoir as the anti-Black racist misogyny that Black women and people read as Black women experience. So how does misogynoir show up in our lives and broader society? Misogynoir shows up through negative images and stereotypes that have devastating real-life impacts on Black women. For example, you might have heard the term welfare queen. The welfare queen was a term and stereotype promoted by the Reagan administration in the 80s to disparage Black women seeking government assistance. The welfare queen was depicted as a Black single mother committed to taking down the government through her use of social services. The welfare queen stereotype successfully convinced the American public that Black women were the primary users of welfare, hence a burden to society, even though then and now, white people are the primary beneficiaries of welfare. Public policies to this day, like public housing, education, and healthcare, just to name a few, are created with misogynoir baked into the plans. Another example of misogynoir is the use of drag by Black male comedians to portray stereotypes about Black women. Tyler Perry's Medea, Flip Wilson's character Geraldine, Shanae by Martin Lawrence, and most recently, TT by Blame It on Quay are examples of this phenomenon. These different characters, while funny to many, are very problematic. Why? They inform ideas that we have about Black women, especially dark-skinned Black women. These characters suggest that dark-skinned Black women are unattractive, loud, unlovable, and over the top. Also, these characters have a disproportionate impact on Black trans women because they imply that Black trans women are not real women, but only men playing drag. It is a stereotype that leads to deadly consequences for Black trans women. Misogynoir shows up everywhere, in our lives, our families, communities, and broader society, so we must all commit to defeating it. But how do we do that? We do so by tapping into Black feminisms, by uplifting whole and healthy representations of Black women, girls, and gender-expansive folks, and by interrupting moments in our lives where we see misogynoir showing up. It requires the transformation of all of us, that we be different and transform our hatred of Black women, girls, and gender-expansive people into respect, resources, and power. Black feminisms can show us how.
One, I will never forgive this world for allowing those who survive long hurt in their short lives to be taken from us first and spoken about last, for putting down Black women while living only for us to be put down as a form of death. for forcing the bones of dead Black girls back into a living earth, then failing to offer their tongues as tombstones by simply saying their names out loud, the silence, a second grim reaping to we who have been the seeds and soil, the horizon that holds the sun and the harvest, across generations and geographies, jobs and identities, EMTs, granddaughters, activists, mothers, graduates, sisters, sex workers. It has never been enough to earn us respect, not even our breath, too. The waters are rising. On the shores of this earth, the shores of our eyelids, they are roaring and raging, ancient and angry. I feel their fury growing, and they have passed this wisdom down to their daughters. I see it in every Black girl born into this world with tongue and teeth a bit sharper. I dare not imagine the vengeance of the God who cradles Black girls killed before they're called, but I suggest we all begin preparing for her arrival. 3. When we say protect Black women, we mean from strangers, from their families, from the state, from yourselves. When we say protect Black women, we mean those on the front lines. We mean that all of our lives are the front lines. We mean that if every cop, sheriff, and ICE agent retired tomorrow, we would still wake up to news of a dead Black woman that some will say deserved to die or never have been alive in the first place for. But what did we expect? When every inhale is considered greed and every exhale considered pollution, our laughter becomes our liberation, our sighs will be our salvation, our hollers become a kind of holy, a praise song in the note of grief that brings empires to their knees. See, we are all we have ever needed, and that is why they keep trying to take us from us. 5. See, all I really want to know is, how come the world we knew ended and left so much of its violence behind, bound in bodies whose names they still refuse to pronounce correctly, if at all. They refuse to answer our calls when we ask, when will my daughters be mourned? When will my sisters be mourned? When will my mothers be mourned? When will my aunties, grandmothers, and granddaughters be mourned? And there I go again, asking all the wrong damn questions when I really should be asking, why are there so many of us to mourn in the first place? Why do some people only bring Black women and girls flowers to their graves? Why do some people find it so damn hard to just say her name? Ayana, Brianna, Sandra, Corinne, we promise you, we will light every candle our hands can hold. We will strike every match from the matchbox. We will bring both to the protest, precincts, and penitentiaries. Each time a Black woman is stolen, we will hold our ground for Tatiana, Charlena, India, Kayla, Marielle, Michelle, Shaniqua, Nizah, Natasha, Tanisha. We do this for you. We do this for us. We do this until we get free.
Hey, everybody. My name is M. Adams. I use all gender pronouns said respectfully, so you can use she, he, they. That's cool with me. I am co-executive director of Freedom, Inc., and I'm also a leadership team member with the Movement for Black Lives. And I'm joined here with the best and brightest for us to dig into what we are up against. And I'm gonna kick it to them to introduce themselves.
Hey y'all, my name is Stanley Fritz, New York State Political and Campaigns Director at Citizen Action of New York. That's my day job. My pronouns are he, him. And my passion is writing, and I write about patriarchy, sexism, music, why sugar doesn't belong in grits, and how men can be less trash.
My name is Nala Zadan. I use all pronouns used respectfully, and I'm a Black masculinity scholar and transmasculinist. And I study and write about and think about how to build accountable masculinities in our communities.
My name is Byron Hurt, and I am a documentary filmmaker. I made the films Hip Hop Beyond Beats and Rhymes, Soul Food Junkies, and I'm working on a film now called Hazing. I'm also a gender violence prevention activist.
My name is Kenyon Farrell. I use he, him, his pronouns. I'm the managing director of advocacy and organizing with Prep for All, which is an organization that's doing work to make sure biomedical prevention for HIV reaches everybody in the United States. I'm a long-term activist, communication strategist, and journalist is focused on public health issues, LGBTQ issues.
So how about we start by sharing how we first realized that patriarchy was a thing we were against? Like, what did it look like and feel like for you?
I realized patriarchy was a thing maybe about 5 years ago, honestly. And the big thing that did it for me was I had a lot of women in my life who I cared about who were in like toxic and dangerous relationships. I also knew their partners. And I saw way too much of myself in them, and even understood how, like, just like in theory, how they could have gotten to this place, which scared me about what I could or could have become, and also made me sad about all the boys who are on this trajectory.
I knew that patriarchy was a thing when I was a little boy, but I wasn't always against it. So, I grew up in a household where my father was, the quote unquote breadwinner, the patriarch, the man of the house sort of thing. And and he was emotionally abusive toward my mother, and I hated that. Like, it really hurt me as a young boy. I remember one day I was in the bathroom with my mother when I was a little boy, and my mother and my father had just had an argument, and he ended it by saying, I said that's it. And I remember my mother being really wounded by that. I said to my mother, I wish that, you had more spunk. And I think what I was really trying to say in my own little boy kind of way is like, I wish you were a feminist. And later I would go on to challenge my father about the way that he treated my mom, where the energy should have gone in the first place. But as a young boy, you're not really taught, you're not groomed to challenge patriarchy.
I love that, because I had a similar experience as well, where I recognized my masculinity very young to be a very organically developing experience, its own language in my own body, but one that was still supposed to be limited to how my father could control it. Oftentimes that meant coming up against his word, and then recognizing my own rebellion to it. It's like, actually, the power that you are trying to hold over my head is rooted in fear. Like, you want me to know that there are consequences to your, based on your physical strength over me. And then I wanted to know, why are these hierarchies the structures that we consider the right way to be?
I had a very different experience. So first, I grew up pretty much, my mom is a single parent. My parents divorced when I was like 5 or 6 years old. And I come from a family of very strong and headstrong and opinionated women who just were not taking any mess, right, from any men. I also feel very blessed that, being a gay boy and kind of coming into just understanding myself to kind of be different from what it felt like boys were supposed to be. And luckily not feeling any pressure from my mother or my aunts, and, but even the men in my family.
I identify a lot with what you were saying, Kenyon, about having the strong Black mama. Mm-hmm. My mama was the same way. And all of my aunties, and in fact, they were known in the neighborhood as, you better get back and get it together if you're coming to see them.
Right.
What was also true is my family, like me and my siblings and my mother, were also paying the consequence for my father, right? So my father was locked up many years, and before he was locked up, he had all of these different families. And it wasn't until I was a bit older that I began to understand the social consequence of my mama being a baby mama. So I actually want to invite y'all in to peel back the layer with me. What does patriarchy actually look like in our community?
I mean, I think what patriarchy looks like in my community is, a world that centers men. I mean, that centers cisgendered men more specifically, where, all of the issues that affect us as a community start pretty much with how they affect Black men first.
Inside our community, what I see patriarchy producing is these patterns of acceptance that feels like they're actually manifesting as satisfying to so many of us. And then here Black women, here queer people, trans people, non-binary people come and we're taking the brunt end of the consequences of patriarchy. So we disrupt. I'm learning still to see beyond the limitations of patriarchy so as to reimagine something else. Because I don't even think, a lot of times the boys and men in my life have the choice of seeing something else when they fit so neatly into the container of how patriarchy's power will be afforded to them.
I 100% agree with you. Why would men or masculine identifying people want to push away from patriarchy? But then patriarchy also holds, I think masculine identifying people, men and boys, hostage. Because when you start thinking about things that make you a person, expressing emotions, being vulnerable, needing sleep or deodorant or a shower, you're not supposed to do that if you're a man. You're supposed to be rugged and tough.
This notion that, Black people's progress, quote unquote, has to be centered on the, patriarchal father, male figure, controlling the household and the children and the wife, and that Black men's inability to do that because of, structural racism, to basically be those kinds of patriarchs is the thing that's getting in the way. What is seen as sort of strong, sort of independent women or queer people or what have you, trans people, become these sorts of barriers to our progress as a race. And so many of my own personal experiences with patriarchy mirrored the same stories from women. So at the point at which I began to hit puberty and like walk through the neighborhood, I started to get a whole lot of attention from older Black men. And I have been followed as a child in malls, on the street, in cars, all that kind of stuff. Now, when I talk to, groups of men about patriarchy, I talk about the nature of policing and the kind of being stopped and searched. When you really get to it, lots of men will talk about in those experiences feelings of sexual violation. Then when I talk about, being followed, down the street or stopped at 14 or 15, 16 years old or whatever by men, and that is the experience of so many, obviously trans folks and cis women as well, it begins to open a space for them to then begin to think about their own sense of vulnerability.
Is centered in separating masculinity from manhood. Like, we need to talk about how even toxic masculinity culture inside of, talking about patriarchy is specific to how cisgender heterosexual men have abused power. We are not talking about masculinity in women. We're not talking about masculinity in trans folks, non-binary people. We are talking about a specific origin and legacy of abusive power that comes from a particular source.
Patriarchy is everywhere, and it's happening all the time. And what we're saying is that people need to join the fight to do something about it. And what we also see is that the people doing the harm, doing the violence, it can often be people who we care about. So how do we actually hold them accountable?
So these are hurt people who are now hurting people. And we have to remember that a lot of this is grounded in harm, and we have to figure out ways to do harm reduction. So you want to show up with love and understanding and give space for people to be able to redeem themselves and see the harm that they've done and want to be accountable. Having said that, there is a universe for some people where that space can't be held because they don't have the range to step into that gracious space. And when that happens, I think it is also important, particularly for cis het men, to step up. And you need to make sure that the folks who are creating a harmful space feel very unsafe to do that.
I guess my question would be, is the goal to use fear as the tool? Accountability, what it looks like inside of, patriarchy or even masculinity, is owning your position first and foremost. Like, when you go into any given moment, where are you powerful and where could you potentially be harmed? What does right relationship take? How do we get back to a place where the two of us can be whole humans inside of moving about the world?
It's about kind of drawing the line where the line actually needs to be drawn, but also not saying that you're garbage or worthless or another, something to be discarded. I sometimes question whether the kind of attack and vitriol that some of us do from a place of wanting to kind of challenge where we see patriarchy actually just reproduces it with a different set of language. It's like a lot of hashtag solidarity stuff I just don't do because I actually see, Black women and, including trans women as actual people and allies that I'm in community with. And I really think about what I'm doing and in my actual life, whatever kind of privilege I have and power I have, am I hiring Black women to do it or Black trans women to do it? What are the ways in which I can actually bring my resource to the table to support and help, in that relationship?
Accountability requires relationship. It needs to be a tailored process around each thing. And what's hard is we don't have enough people trying to practice, that kind of community praxis, and we have so much harm to deal with.
We are people who believe in transformative justice, right? Especially for Black folks. We want our people to become different and build a different world. And we're also around this table as serious people who are drawing lines in the sand. We're saying no more murders to Black trans women. We're saying no more rape, no more sexual violence, no more just jumping on people, no more homophobia, no more beating your partner, no more, no more, no more. So we're also willing to take what could be an unpopular position. So when I think about my metric for was this successful, was this transformational, was it effective, and did it happen soon enough? I think about survivors. And so I am going to destroy the prison industrial complex, yes. And I am not going to allow another death and murder of a trans woman in the process. What is on the other side if we win, right? So what does it actually mean for us to build a feminist future?
It would look like a beautiful thing, first of all. First of all, who would you be if you were allowed to walk into your full self, right? Without having to, perform something that you think is going to keep you safe.
When I was a young boy growing up, all the way through young adulthood, and at times even struggle with today, is being too invested in how other men perceive my masculinity. Whether or not they see me as being strong, it really polices you, right? It polices your body, it polices your mind, it polices your emotions. So there are so many different reasons why we should divest in patriarchy, because it leads to healthier, more holistic lives as human beings, right? And I think there would be like a significant reduction of harm in the world.
Like, I was emotionally stunted for a long time, and I was not able to kind of like be able to read and see the things that I was going through and know that I was hurting or I was in pain. And because I couldn't see it for myself, I couldn't see it in others. And a world beyond patriarchy on the other side, honestly, is a world where we actually get to know ourselves and who we are and what we want and what we need.
As a masculine person who is not a man, I want to know that my masculinity manifests in a way that doesn't have to be centered in the rigidity of an abusive power dynamic. That was one of the reasons why I think that men should spend time and be in conversation with non-male masculine people. Because we have had to fight through those things to be the evidence of love's possibilities. I love engaging healthy relationships with men. I wish I had more, but the ones I do have proven to me that there is another side to patriarchy and that there's nuance inside of what a man is. And that's when I started to soften into what else is there and what is the path to getting there.
Thank you to those who are watching. You know what we are up against. I'm here with the homies. We got Nalo, Stanley, and Byron, and Kenyon. Join the movement.
These last couple of years have literally been off the chain. From a whole panoramic to 26 million people in the streets in defense of Black lives, the too many people we have lost to police and state violence and COVID, climate change fueling devastating impacts on the earth, our people and communities, and federal and local legislatures running wild, it has been too much. In the face of the impossible, literally the world on fire, Black feminist leaders and organizations are doing incredible work, building community, nourishing leaders, embracing joy, and winning. From South America to Africa, we see the need, see each other, and build this world anew, time and time again. Black, queer, and trans organizers in Nigeria organizing to end SARS, land defenders in Central America, organizations like Black Mamas Matter and the National Alliance of Black Midwives are moving research campaigns and training midwives to end the maternal and infant mortality of Black parents and babies. Badass Black reproductive justice organizations like New Voices for Reproductive Justice turning out the vote in 2020, helping to turn their state blue, and organizations like Freedom Inc., who have led the campaign to get cops out of schools. Black feminists are leading the way. Let's check out some of the dope work happening around the globe. These are just some of the organizations that are fighting for our freedom.
Olá, eu sou Michele Ribeiro, faço parte da Rede Mulheres Negras do Paraná, que é uma organização feminista negra que atua na região sul do Brasil, especificamente no estado do Paraná. A organização foi fundada para reivindicar e ampliar a implementação de políticas públicas específicas no que é referente na luta contra o racismo, o sexismo, a opressão de classe, a trans e lesbofobias, assim como todas as formas de discriminação. O desafio que eu quero partilhar com vocês é referente à redução da mortalidade materna no estado do Paraná, que era, anteriormente ao desenvolvimento dessa ação, 6 vezes maior a chance de uma mulher negra morrer em decorrência da mortalidade materna, era 6 vezes maior do que uma mulher não negra. Tática pensada esteve muito em torno dessa mobilização constante, compreendida essa também como uma tática feminista negra, da mobilização constante da sociedade como um todo, através do estabelecimento de parcerias com a sociedade civil principalmente. Assim, foi aprovada a Política Nacional de Atenção Integral à Saúde da População Negra, com a participação de outras organizações feministas negras de âmbito nacional e internacional por meio da participação nas atividades. A vitória conquistada foi a aprovação da Política Nacional de Saúde Integral da População Negra, que contribuiu muito para o âmbito da saúde, mas também pensando segurança alimentar e nutricional. E isso teve impacto na redução da mortalidade do estado da mortalidade materna do estado do Paraná, que foi reduzida em 40%, porque quem mais morriam, quem engrossava o caldo desse elevado índice de mortalidade materna, eram mulheres negras e mulheres indígenas. É importante para nós trazermos isso como grande vitória, mas é também preciso pensar nossos próximos desafios, que são pensar e trazer para dentro da atuação, e é das coisas com as quais eu trabalho muito também, que é pensando como é que nós conseguimos promover autocuidado e, sobretudo, cuidado coletivo dentro das organizações de mulheres negras. Essa é uma necessidade para que nós possamos pensar a luta ativista atrelada com o bem viver das mulheres negras.
I know a lot of us over this past decade have had our hearts broken, but our hearts are resilient, and our hearts always rebuild. Open the ocean wide in us. We have to affirm the world that we want to live in, with our voices, with our bodies, with our dreams, with our spirit, with our actions. I see it happening. I see change happening, both in our consciousness and in our spirits, but in the material world, I see it. We just have to keep going. Will you keep going? Yes. 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 Will you keep going? Will you keep going? Together we will win. Open the ocean wide in us. Open the ocean.
Greetings, I am Lakeisha Harris. I am the Director of Reproductive Health and Justice here at Women with a Vision, based in New Orleans, Louisiana. We are a Black feminist organization that does harm reduction, reproductive justice, policy, advocacy, health education to improve the lives of marginalized women, their families, and community members. We believe that IV drug users, sex workers have rights, should be treated humanely, and that they should inform the work that we do. One of the challenges that we have doing our work here at Women with a Vision is being unapologetic Black feminists and pushing a radical agenda, which isn't radical to us. Decriminalization is not a radical notion, and the challenges that we face is laying that out for community members that don't have, or encompass a Black radical feminist idea or notion of liberation. So, that's been a challenge, but this year we were really excited to introduce decriminalization legislation at the Louisiana State House, a great big push towards decrimming sex work for all sex workers in Louisiana. So the conversation has started and we're ecstatic.
Hi, I'm Danielle. I'm one person representing the mutual aid collective Mama Fund. Mama Fund started through an organic process of people in the community, primarily Black and brown folks, realizing that resources and support were not coming to our community, particularly women in films, working class folks who needed support during the COVID-19 pandemic. Mama Fund is really focused on getting resources to our people through a mutual aid model. Mama Fund uses Black feminist principles to govern how we interact with one another as a collective and also the work that we are doing in community. We provide direct funds to BIPOC community members to meet their immediate needs while also building systems and networks that allows all to thrive. We know how important this work is because we're one of the few collectives doing this work for BIPOC communities in Metro Atlanta. But it's still a challenge balancing our lives within this work. What bolsters us is that we've been able to raise over $500,000 that have gone directly to BIPOC community members. But we still know that in order to build our Black feminist future, Mama Fund must continue to grow to meet the needs of our people and build a strong community.
I'm Asani Armand. I use they, them, she, her pronouns, and I'm a Black trans organizer based in Brooklyn. And I'm the founder of For the Girls, which is an organization that helps Black trans people pay for their rent and their affirmative surgeries, as well as their medical co-pays and doctor's visit co-pays via mutual aid. FTG operates under a Black feminist practice because we believe that Black trans people are oppressed in very particular ways and marginalized in very particular ways. We've given over $1 million. At this point, it's probably close to over $1.5 million to Black trans people. And I think that it's such a beautiful thing to be able to say that we've done that in 2 years. That just means to the world. It really shows that like this work is possible. To do that work, it just really means a lot.
The organizations and leaders we learned about are doing such important work fighting for justice. We hope that you are inspired and want to join the fight, because together is how we fight for the world that we deserve. At this point in Jubilee, we hope we have made it clear why Black feminism is a blueprint for liberation. It is how we get free. Think of it as a journey, not a destination. A journey long traveled by those before us, and one that we continue. And what we know is that we can't get far without a strong compass to guide our path forward. At Black Feminist Future, the compass that grounds how we practice Black feminisms is called our meridians. What is a meridian? A meridian is an energetic pathway connecting constant, steady points. They show up in nature in a couple of ways. Meridians are the imaginary lines that connect the poles of our Earth that are used on maps to help us locate a place. And in indigenous medicinal practices, they show up in our bodies as energetic highways that circulate energy throughout our system. Think of them as something you can always come back to, a gut check, a reference point. Our Black feminist meridians are the same thing, principles that constantly ground our path, our purpose, and our life. We use these 8 meridians as a compass to guide our Black feminist path, and we invite you to use them as well. So let's dig into them. Here are a few. 1, Black women, girls, and gender-expansive people are inherently valuable. As we learn from Moya Bailey's definition of misogynoir, so many of the systems that uphold our societies are rooted in the exploitation and harm of Black women, girls, and gender-expansive folks. We believe that in order to uproot these systems, we must first reassert that we are valuable, each one of us. It's not based on how much money you make, if you went to school or not, or if you have tons of likes on your social media. Your existence is priceless and worthy to be fought for. 2, Black feminism is for all Black people. It is how we get free. Black feminism is a blueprint for everyone's liberation. The frameworks, theories, and ideologies of Black feminisms are not exclusive to just Black women. In our journey towards freedom, it is essential that folks across the spectrum of Black identities understand that the fight for a Black feminist future is a fight for their future as well. 3, we center the most vulnerable in our work and in our solutions. In the words of one of our North Stars, Audre Lorde, I am not free while any woman is unfree, even when her shackles are very different from my own. For us, this means in our solutions for ending systems of oppression, we must always ask ourselves, who are we centering in this solution? And who is being left out? If your solutions for liberation do not address homophobia, transphobia, ableism, classism, colorism, fat phobia, and so on, then you have to ask yourself, am I only fighting for my freedom to oppress others? This is how we practice fighting for a world where all of our sisters and siblings are free. These are the Black Feminist Meridians. Use them as your Black Feminist gut check that are there anytime you need to guide your path towards a Black Feminist future. For more on how to embody and practice these principles, check out our Black Feminist Meridians workbook.
Am I the only person who's had one of those moments when you wonder if the person you're talking to actually realizes they're talking out loud? Like, do they not know I can hear this mess coming out of their mouths? Now, y'all know I do my best to give folks the benefit of the doubt, although Mother Maya tried to warn us, when they show you who they are, believe them the first time. Maybe they genuinely think they're asking me in their heads if being a Black feminist means I hate men, babies, and sweet baby Jesus. Unfortunately for me, their inside-out narration never stops there, and that, my friends, is where we get the show, Ask a Black Feminist. The game show where you too can ask your burning, basic-ass questions, and we agree to laugh instead of, as my grandma used to say, give you something to cry about. The ridiculous questions and opinions expressed in this program do not reflect the opinions of your wife, partner, husband, children, siblings, side piece, parents, preacher, best friend, medical providers, or elected officials. Or do they? It's time to get it twisted.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Ask a Black Feminist, the game show where some of the most harebrained assumptions get served with some spicy responses by our favorite feminists who always keep it 100. And you, the audience, get to determine if each participant's comeback lands where the money resides. I'm your host, Mary Hooks, the world's most charming Black feminist heartthrob, and your game show hostess with the mostest. Let's meet our incredible participants. First up, Atlanta's finest abolitionist shawty, the one and only Toni Michelle.
What's up? It's your girl, Miss Toni Michelle, representing your favorite org, the Solutions Not Punishment Collaborative, aka SNAPCO. We are a Black, trans, and queer-led organization dedicated to empowering and building amazing, powerful organizers to tackle on issues in Atlanta that will free all Black people.
Give it up, give it up. Representing all the good kids in the mad city of Chicago, Miracle Boyd, y'all.
Hey guys, it's a spicy girl, Miracle from Good Kids Mad City. Chi-Town's great.
Last but definitely not least, the OG organizer representing the mighty Lou, Jamala Rogers.
Hey y'all, this is Jamala Rogers from the Lou, that's St. Louis, Missouri, and I'm with the Organization for Black Struggle. And for 41 years, we've been on the front lines fighting for the rights and dignity of Black people, and we ain't scared.
We have some of the best Black feminists in the land to answer your most burning questions. Let's get this started. For our second round, we've collected questions from 100 random people, including Pastor Shownuff from Mighty Missionary Baptist Church, Dr. Divine Nine Diva, and the last but certainly not least, Shorty from the corner store. Toni Michelle, the first question belongs to you tonight. It's time to get it twisted, y'all. The category is whitewashing. This comes in from Dr. Divine Nine Diva. Y'all just a bunch of haters. Why do Black feminists hate men, children, and the Black family?
Hater where? Please, show me how we be hating, okay? When you know better, you do better. Black feminism is not about hating men. Because we love ourselves and take up for ourselves doesn't mean that we hate black men. I love black men. I love a piece, okay? We're just trying to get rid of the patriarchy. We're trying to get rid of misogyny and trans-misogyny. The patriarchy disrupts the black family dynamic. And when you don't listen to your kids when they're talking to you about sexual violence or harm, when you don't love your kids because they are trans or because they are queer, that taints black family values, right? We just show our love a little bit different by requiring some R-E-S-B-C-T. Do better, boo-boo.
You better find out what it means to me, okay? My people, it's time for you to show some love. Let's hear what you got for the love meter. Give it up for Tony Michelle. There we go, our first $5,000 for the evening. All right, y'all, we're getting it. We're warming up now. Okay, Jamala, it's time to get it twisted. The category is double standard. Our next question comes from the pulpit of Pastor Show Nuff from the mighty Missionary Baptist Church. Don't we have bigger things to focus on other than women's stuff, burning bras and the like? Aren't all of these things just a distraction from the real issues like racism, not having jobs, COVID, that we have to deal with? Aren't we all equal under God's eyes? Okay, Jamala.
Thank you, Red, for that important question. And lucky for you, I'm an expert on this one. We know that nothing is neutral. Even the Bible is not neutral. That came from the worldview of a white man. There are so many issues that we've been fighting. You're right. There are all kinds of issues. And I can tell you almost all of them, without a doubt, Black women have been there on the front lines. Think about the role that Black women have played throughout our struggle. We are your friend, not your enemy. Always think about it. What would a Black feminist do?
Here comes the level meter. Are we feeling the Black feminist love for Jamala, y'all? Give it up. Yes, Jamala, 10,000 is yours. Miracle, it's your turn. It's time to get it twisted. The category is Make America Great Again. Our final question comes from none other than Shorty from the corner store. Why y'all be so mad all the time? Miracle?
All I gotta say is, don't start none, won't be none. And Solange told you, don't have me say it again. I have a lot to be mad about. Anger, rage, and being mad are all useful emotions, especially since everyone is relying on us to fix the world time and time again. But for real though, if someone was hurting your family, wouldn't you be upset too? On the other hand, some of y'all really think every time a Black woman, girl, or LGBTQ person speaks up for themselves, they mad or angry.
Love-O-Meter, it's your time to shine. Are we feeling the Black feminist love for Miracle? Yes, 20,000. It's yours. Wow. That's it for everyone's favorite show, Ask a Black Feminist, where we dish out the truth, the money, and the love all night long, and truly where everyone wins. Let's hear it for Jamala, Miracle, and Tony Michelle. My goodness, listen to that love, y'all. We'll see you next time on Ask a Black Feminist.
Do you feel all right? Are you feeling some joy? Are you feeling like this Black feminisms might be good for you? Great. Well, we hope that your mind, spirit, and body are excited with Black feminist possibilities, that you learned something and felt something too. We have covered so much ground. You've learned about Black feminisms and misogynoir, Barbara Smith, organizers in Brazil, New Orleans, and New York City. Hopefully, you can see the connection in your life and be called into action, to do something, to make this world better than you found it. I want to thank the team of Black Feminist Future for allowing me to be your host for Jubilee. What an incredible homecoming.
Jubilee is our love offering to the many, the multitude, and the ongoing legacy of Black women, girls, and gender-expansive people. Some we know, many we do not. It is our love letter to Black liberation, a letter that starts by acknowledging the inherent value of Black women and girls and ends with our deep commitment to keep movement alive. And we are just getting started. The doors of the Black feminist movement are open, and we are asking you to join us. If you loved what you saw and want to get to work to break up with patriarchy and all the systems that got us down, here are your calls to action. Number 1, become a member of Black Feminist Future. You can do so by scanning this QR code or by visiting blackfeministfuture.org to become a member or a supporter of BFF. Our members help build political and social power to defeat misogynoir and advance Black feminisms while centering leadership development, community care, and joy. 2, you remember the awesome Black feminist organizations doing work around the world to fight for our collective liberation? Good. Donate to them, support them, connect with them, and tap into organizations in your local community doing similar work. Visit our website for more information. And number 3, don't know what to do with all you learned? Let the Black Feminist Meridians be your guide. The Meridians support you as you deepen your practice of Black feminisms in your life, community, and society. We have created a workbook called Meridians to support you. You can purchase the workbook at our online store. Visit our website to purchase. I would like to thank the incredible Black Feminist Future team who are truly remarkable. Let's give it up for them, y'all. Our organizational and individual sponsors and donors whose generous support has helped make this possible. And each of you for tuning in. Jubilee, a Black Feminist Homecoming, is just the beginning. Our power and possibilities are limitless. What I know for sure is Black feminisms is the future. And I am so excited to welcome you home.
My name is Miriam Kaba. I am the founder and director of Project NIA, and I've co-founded several other formations, groups, and organizations over many years. We are living in the midst of a climate crisis and a global health pandemic that continues to ravage people across the world. State violence proceeds seemingly unabated, and interpersonal violence negatively impacts many lives. People are suffering in so many ways. Looking around the world, we can be forgiven if we feel a sense of foreboding, fear, and perhaps for some, despair. But I think it's important to remember Audre Lorde's admonition that despair is a tool of our enemies. We can take some solace from the fact that there is other news too, and some of that is good news. So these are the days to commit to struggle and to fight like hell. Ella Baker said that the struggle is eternal, the tribe increases, somebody carries on. Choose to be the somebody who carries on. The key to lifelong activism and organizing, in my opinion, is to dedicate oneself daily to hope. Hope is a discipline. Hope can be a basis for action. It offers us a foundation from which to struggle for liberation. another world is in fact possible. When we organize, we are always organizing towards a future that we will be unlikely to see. It's a future built on the hopes and the sacrifices of our ancestors, upon whose labor and love we stand. Making positive change is difficult. Uprooting oppression is the work of many lifetimes. There are setbacks mixed with some terrific highs. What's most important, though, is that we act. Alice Walker puts it well. I have learned to accept the fact that we risk disappointment, disillusionment, even despair every time we act. Every time we decide to believe the world can be better. Every time we decide to trust others to be as noble as we think they are. And that there might be years during which our grief is equal to or even greater than our hope. The alternative, however, not to act, and therefore to miss experiencing other people at their best, reaching toward their fullness, has never appealed to me. It's never appealed to me either. To transform the conditions of our oppression, we can only do what we can today, where we are, in the best way that we know how, within our capacity. As a prison industrial complex abolitionist, I am trying to prefigure the world in which I want to live. I practice abolition every day towards that end. This involves both organizing for the destruction of death-making institutions and for the creation of life-giving and affirming ones. As there is no blueprint or map for abolition, we must spend time imagining, strategizing, and practicing other futures. Audre Lorde guides us in the type of future that we should be pursuing. There is a world in which we all wish to live. That world is not attained lightly. We call it future. If, as Black feminists, we do not begin talking, thinking, feeling ourselves for its shape, we will condemn ourselves and our children to a repetition of corruption and error. Black feminism is a template for all of our liberations. Let's continue on the path of prefiguring the world in which we want to live. One that invites accountability over punishment, abundance over scarcity, interdependence over selfishness, care over violence, and love over fear.